What is happening, gang? I must just find everybody well. Welcome back to the Built for Pressure podcast with me, Will Foden. I am going to go over my last weekend with my lovely lady as she completed her Ironman 70.3. Some massive lessons, not only for herself, or for me, us as a family, but something that I would like all people who are listening to this to take note of, more so from a perception standpoint and from a guilt standpoint, which you'll understand in a minute. Those that didn't know, my wife used to compete for Great Britain. She, in 100 fly swimming, she competed for GB since she was 14, and she got a Commonwealth medal. She was 7th in the world at one point. She missed Rio Olympics by 0.1 of a second. And she also competed for the Energy Standard swim team out in Turkey, which is like the barbarians of swimming if you don't know swimming at all. So quite, prevalent to say that she's an elite level athlete for a very, very long period of time. Since retiring, moving to Singapore with me and then building a PT company, we came back home, and then 2 years ago we had our first kid, George. If you guys on social media will know, he's obviously the most important, the most like piece of the puzzle on there. Now, for most mums, parents out there, you'll know exactly what this means. Is the minute you have a child, you become second in everything that you do. And the reality is most mums especially become selfless. They give absolutely everything for their youngster, Rach included. 18 months ago, we set on this journey of giving Rach a bit of a mission, a bit of a challenge, something that she knew was going to push her limits, and more so, keep that kindled spirit of what an athlete is. Because of what I see a lot of the time is once people forget, if they've been an athlete in a previous life, they don't take that into the next phases of their life at all. And I'll always say is once an athlete, you're always an athlete, and you have to feed that monster. Rach is competitive. Rach wants to push herself. Rach, in regard to not only showing our boy, we talk about standards in our house, and that standards are lived. Standards aren't something that we talk around. Standards are just what we do, and he absorbs them. I think our side of things has been massively prevalent of how to actually box that and tick that off. So 18 months ago, we decided for Rach to start this journey of hitting her first Ironman. She's cycled 300k in Singapore before. She's done her first marathon where she saw God halfway through. And also from a swimming standpoint, 1.9k is absolutely nothing. So she would do that hungover at university. And this has been a big thing that we've been pushing for. Now, over the last few weeks and months, we've been gearing up for this event and actually getting over there. Something that I really took stock of was more of her perception on her performance. A bit of a different ball game. If you've been in elite levels of sport, you can take this in business as well. Whilst you're in it, it's the only thing that ever matters. But once you leave it, you realise that it's a bigger part of life. Rach is in the same position. It's no longer chasing to be number one in the world or to push herself in that realm. It's to actually see what her capacity is. And heading into this race, which I'll go through a bit of admin. If you're a female who's doing an ultra endurance event, I can show you how to have a carb load and that kind of stuff. Before this race, what Rach did was massively undershot what her expectations were. She said she was going to do a 40-minute swim, which in reality she did in 30 minutes. She said she was going to do about 4 hour 15 bike just because she thought elevation was going to be bad. She came in at 3:30, looking like she was cruising, and she hit a 2:20 marathon, a half marathon, which before she did that while she was fatigued. And she did that while she was fatigued in the Ironman. She actually did that pretty fresh at home after a training block. The piece that that I took stock of was when, after the race, the boy goes and brought to my Instagram. The boy fell over halfway through and smashed his head whilst we were running around the island trying to find Mummy. He was fine, but he was asleep. Gave Rach a cuddle at the end. And just the elation in relation to, you saw that she was so shocked with her own performance. And I wasn't shocked at all. Like, we've built this in, and just a little bit of admin for those that are competing in endurance events. As you're starting to get to the end of your last training phase, you should be hitting around 100 to 120% volume of the actual race itself. So you become accustomed and acclimatized to it. We'd hit all the tonnages and volumes that we needed to. Rachel pushed herself to that limit, and more so, I knew deep down that swim would have been easy. Bike, she's a powerhouse on the bike, and run will be her nemesis. It always will do. She's a sprint athlete. She's got type 2 muscle fiber, 0% oxygenation happening in that body very often. But that's the only thing that you can train. And after the race, you couldn't believe how fast she went, where I could. And it's not that I had a premonition. It was just that the expectation of yourself is usually less than with reality. And the thing about endurance events and challenges, especially for people that are wired and they're driven driven in that sort of respect, they forget that level of challenge is actually what keeps them going, keeps them growing, and keeps them sharp. Where Rach for 2 years hasn't, not that she hasn't had that level of focus hasn't been there. The number one focus there has been our son. Now, it's a massive part of our household that mummy goes and gets fit, according to George. George will see mummy running on a bike, mummy getting fit, and that's part of what we do. And as mentioned, the standards that we set ourselves, not just in our training, but in how we deliver our whole process, from nutrition, our behavior, about us going on adventures as a family, trying to eat as a family as much as possible. Those are standards that are lived. They're not standards that we're talked around. They're not standards that we pretend they're there for social media. That's just part of what we do. And the reality of most of all of this is that an athlete's mindset never leaves you, but you also need to remember you need to feed it. Rach is wired very differently to me. I am, if you don't know any color coding for mindsets, I'm very red before. I'm a bit more blue now, but I'm very emotional. I'll drop the hammer and I want to be in the war zone. Rach is a yellow mindset. She's chilled, relaxed, focused, but she's not too aggressive. But remembering what makes you tick is hugely important, and it's something that, it's one of the most attractive things about my wife, is she's so candid about how much of an elite athlete she was. But watching her compete, really hit home that we all need to have some form of goal at the end of it that is going to stretch our limits. Because I promise you, at the end of that race, she could not believe what she just achieved. And I think that's a little note for those out there, is that what most people do when they plateau, they get stagnant, they get frustrated. They either do two things. They do something highly audacious for external validation, or they forget exactly what makes them tick and they stop doing it, i.e. they don't have any form of challenge at all. And that's where most people get bottlenecked. I used to be the person that used to be around external validation. That no longer matters to me anywhere near as much as actually me being present, focused, and aligned in my own current process. That takes a lot of work, and that takes a lot of sets and reps of you actually doing incremental processes that are going to help you do it, rather than what most people do is, like I said, they hit the goal and they chase the next bigger thing. For my wife that weekend, it was all about her, and the strains and the frustrations and all the detail inside of those sessions. The reality is that her prep was not perfect, and everything about it wasn't perfect, but that was the story of the tape. So if you're a founder, if you're a CEO and you're an executive, and you are trying to push your limits, this is just a nudge that it's not a selfish endeavor. It's just part of who you are, and it's part of exactly what you need to actually keep yourself sharp, keep yourself focused, and stay on top of your game. It's actually having something that stretches you, not breaks you, that stretches you. And that's something that we've massively worked on. Don't get it twisted. Rach caught the flu the day before, and then she did the race all happy, and she's now currently body bagged with absolutely melted. But we'll deal with that afterwards. But I said that I'd give a bit of an account of Rach's Ironman, and some things that for you to consider, just some take home points. I know some people are listening to this more for the high performance piece. This is more of a personal documentation about what we do in our side of our family and how proud I am of my wife. If you are a female and you're looking to carb load, you want to be having 8 to 10 grams or 8 to 12 grams per kilo body weight 3 days out. Males is 2 days. Why? Because for females, it takes longer for you to absorb glycogen. So what this actually looks like in practice is a bagel's got 45 grams. So you think about it that way, is you're having 10 bagels, it's 450 grams of carbs. Okay, so you're like Rachel's having anywhere between 600 and 800 grams. That's something that you need to do on a 3-day basis. If you are doing something that is of big nature, I've also got people that listen to this that are doing Hyrox events. You do not need to carb load for a Hyrox event. 2, distance. Your block heading into it, like I said, you want to be hitting around 120 to 130% of training volume of that, bigger than the actual race itself. Example, in that week, if you know that you've got to run a half marathon, for your final destination, you should be running about 26 to 30k, the top peaking week of your training cycle. And lastly, one thing to remember, especially in all endurance events, something will go wrong. Something will blindside you, and it's how you adapt and how you adopt, and that's something that I'll take into consideration. Just a little nudge. If you're a founder, an executive who wants to actually attack all things inside of their performance and feel guilty around picking a challenge, just a little shout out. You're not alone. because people like you are wired, and if you're wired like me, we have to have something in the distance to keep us focused, keep us aligned, and keep us pondering, am I actually capable of doing that? Because that's the name of the game. So anyway, I digress. A quick little note saying hello, and again, appreciate all the kind words. I'll get back to you guys next week, and I'll catch you soon.